What's up guys, Don Juan. So we're going to be doing a reveal of the actual bulletproof diesel billet aluminum plate. The packaging I threw away already, but the box was really nice. Had a nice styrofoam, the molded kind of styrofoam to keep everything protected. So if you're not aware, this plate is what you need to delete the OEM oil cooler of the 6.0. In the V of the V8, it sits on the front side of the engine right above the oil or the water pump in the V, and it's known for failing. So this is a way that you can actually remove that oil cooler, the water to water oil cooler, and install a water to air oil cooler. Obviously water to air is not as efficient, but since I read too many horror stories of people doing OEM oil coolers and doing bulletproofing and still having oil coolers fail, and it's a lot of work to get down in there, a lot of stuff has to come out and stuff, I'd rather just do it this way. Since I'm not doing super high horsepower numbers or super heavy towing, I feel like it'll be fine. But yeah, so let's get on to the product review. So again, I'm not sponsored by them in this video. Everything I say is on me, so I'm just doing an overview on a first impressions of the quality and just kind of explaining to you how this system works. So let's get into it. So I don't want to mess up the bag too much, since I want to put it back in here until I use it, because I don't want it to get too dirty or anything. So initial impressions, as you can see, it's a very pretty piece. This is made out of one single piece of billet aluminum. You can see the machining and CNC process all throughout here. It is a very nice product. As I mentioned, this removes the factory oil filter and oil cooler. So if you have a 6.0, you know your oil filter sits over here kind of on top, oil cooler sits below. So you would take the filter out, take the oil cooler out, and then you would run AN fittings from here to an external oil cooler, so, and also an external filter. So one thing I do like initially, on Bulletproof Diesel's website, they have a diagram to show you what each hole does. But one cool thing is it's actually labeled on here. Let me see if I can get that to focus. So you can see each hole, you know, turbo out, you know, they're all labeled for everything that they do, which is really cool. So that's actually kind of nice. And then on the bottom side, so this uses a OEM Ford gasket, which is also pretty nice, so you don't have to worry about having any kind of special gasket from them that you need to keep in stock. This is actually what's actually really nice. So the original Ford oil cooler uses a very cheap kind of mesh screen assembly for the actual for the oil cooler. This one, obviously you can see it's a nice stainless plate, heavy duty plate, and this rope or twine right here is actually metal, you know, all weaved through, and this is like stainless steel mesh, really fine mesh, as you can see here. Let me see if I can get it to focus. There it is. So you can see how fine that mesh is. The original one, the mesh is not that fine, and it is known for clogging and everything, but this would eliminate all that from happening. You would think that when it's not as fine, it won't clog as much, but they're known for having clogging issues. As I mentioned before, this will sit on the engine like this, and then you have, this is your oil in, oil out. This is going to be that goes from oil out, it will go to the oil filter and oil cooler that sits on the front of the truck now. Then after it passes through the oil cooler, you will come back to oil in. Right here is the oil temp sensor, oil pressure sensor, so that they're threaded for the OEM sensors to thread right in. Right here we have turbo out, and we have auxiliary out. Auxiliary is going to be anything that needs some kind of oil supply, or if you go twin turbos or something like that, you can plug into there. Right here is going to be an oil return. That's another one if you plan to add a full oil return line to the sump. I'm not going to. It doesn't really need it because I'm not doing anything too crazy, but it's nice that everything is here and you can always add it later. Down here we have a coolant out. This comes directly from the water pump, supply out from there. And yeah, so that's a really nice piece. So if you guys are having issues with your 6-liter oil coolers and you're looking for a more permanent fix, I'm not saying that this is going to be eliminate. But from people that I've spoken to that have this done, they say that they don't have any more issues. They haven't blown head gaskets, they haven't had any oil heating too much or anything like that. So this is great that they provide this, and this is part of their custom kit. So this is considered a custom plate because it gives you all these options, versus they do sell a kit that's like an entire kit. There's nothing wrong with that if you want that kit, but I wanted to go this route to have more options, and also it's a little bit cheaper, and I feel like there's a few parts that I'm changing that doesn't come with their kit that's a little bit better. So I always think that's a plus too. So, and I'll explain that here in a future video, but hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Again, this is the Bulletproof Diesel oil cooler delete plate to remove the factory oil cooler. And yeah, so I'll catch you guys on the next one.